Ever caught a glimpse of something so spooky it made you freeze and sent chills down your spine? Well, chances are you might have encountered a ghost. Keep watching, as in today's video, I'm going to talk about the most chilling ghost sightings ever caught on camera. Oh, and in case you're watching this at night, it's probably a good idea to switch on the lights. Number 1. Mysterious shadow figure. This video was recorded by a woman named Monica Cruz, who works as a security guard for an undisclosed location. Monica and her co-workers are responsible for looking after an abandoned property, making sure there are no trespassers or squatters. And while none of them have seen anything supernatural despite monitoring the property for years, everything changes when they get a call about a person lurking about the building. The woman immediately pulls up the CCTV footage of the property, and initially, she and her co-workers can't see anything. Just as they're about to call it off as a false alarm, they notice a strange shadow pop up out of nowhere and make its way inside the building through one of the windows. And what's creepy about this video is that her co-workers can actually be heard in the back, talking about how watching that just gave them chills, implying that it wasn't just Monica who saw it. The team is so freaked out by it that none of them even bother going out to investigate, because whatever that thing is, it's unsettlingly fast. The speed at which it's just flowing over obstacles and finding its way to the windows is numbing to watch, because those movements are not human at all. Number 2. Cats get spooked out by something weird. Leaving your cats home alone when you go on vacation can be a tough situation. But imagine coming back to find them all spooked out and scared. That's what happened to a YouTuber who checked his home CCTV footage after leaving his cats for a while. And boy, did he find something creepy. One of the cats, Daisy, is extremely alert, standing on the bed as if it has just seen the most traumatizing thing of its life, even more traumatizing than not being fed after 2 hours. Just then, there's a weird light near the door, where the other cat, Calvin, appears. And no, Calvin isn't the scary part of this clip, although his terrified eyes do come in a close second. What grabs the attention of the cats is something near the door that moves the door. Now, I know some might think it is probably air, but tell me, does air close the door so calmly? At least where I'm from, it doesn't. Just when you think that's enough of a jump scare for the little furballs, the camera pans to the wall and just stays there. And you know what they say about cats? They can sense spiritual beings. Because honestly, this ain't no robber panning the camera like that. If this video is fake, these cats are pretty good actors, because I'm not even kidding. This gave me goosebumps. Number 3. Gettysburg Ghost. One thing you'll never catch me doing is visiting a place that's been known to be haunted. In case you haven't heard of it before, I'm talking about Gettysburg. And this guy decided, oh, what better place than this one? But hey, I guess ignorance is bliss. The guy didn't even notice what was going around him until he got home and started editing. That's when he noticed he wasn't just recording the beautiful scenery. While recording, he's thinking, oh, the road looks so pretty straight out of a movie. What he doesn't know is that the movie is a horror one. As he's zooming in, he catches a weird flash on camera. And what does he see? A figure crossing the road, almost invisible to the naked eye. But wait, it gets worse. More and more figures start crossing the road, some of them dressed like soldiers. Turns out Gettysburg has a pretty dark backstory. Some of these figures just disappear into thin air, while others appear out of nowhere. And that's not all. People in the comments were claiming to have seen the exact same thing. The stories go back to the Civil War days, when the town was a battlefield and a hospital. It's like the spirits of soldiers and patients never left or something. They're still wandering around, trying to make themselves known. Number 4. The doll is excited about Quinceanera as well. You know what's really freaky about this one? The way that girl reacted. I mean, you can't fake that kind of fear. It's like when you see a spider crawling towards you on the couch. Your brain just goes into panic mode. No acting class teaches you how to bring that level of horror to your face. Number 5. Trucker sees a ghost while driving. A truck driver was driving through the dark night in Arizona. You've got to give it up for these truck drivers. Driving alone at night can be nerve-wracking. Anyways, when he was passing through the deserted stretch between Phoenix and Payson, something caught his dash cam. It was a see-through figure standing by the roadside. As he got closer, he noticed something strange. He could actually see the lines on the road through the legs of the figure. At first, he thought it was just a person, but as he got closer, he realized he couldn't see its face or the top of its body. And then it hit him. What if it was a ghost? Of course, there are always skeptics out there who try to explain it away by saying it's a road sign or a deer. But come on, how can anyone deny the spooky truth of a half-apparition caught on camera on a pitch-black highway? It's enough to make you wonder if spirits, ghosts, or entities are always lurking around us. Next time you're driving alone at night, keep your eyes open. You never know what kind of chilling apparitions might be lurking just out of sight. Maybe you can get an encounter of your own. Number 6. Spirit decides to reveal its presence in WW tunnels. It looks like spirits from wars are roaming around, not just in Gettysburg, but also in the tunnels in Japan used during World War II. It's not just some teens playing around in an old abandoned building. No. What if I told you it was a team of engineers, specially trained to tackle dark, eerie tunnels and test the radiation levels? And let me tell you, it's not just strange readings they're picking up down there. Those cameras they brought along, they're glitching like crazy. And no, it's not some Hollywood trickery. The footage is the real deal, glitches and all. That's not all. For some reason, their cameras also caught on to some pretty crazy electronic voice phenomenon as well. Listen closely, and you might catch someone whispering closer over and over again. And trust me, it's not the engineers. And before you think it's just some homeless wanderer, think again. These tunnels are off limits to the public, sealed away from prying eyes. It's like the radiation levels in those tunnels are just enough to stir up the spirits of soldiers from long ago. Maybe they're still furious about the wars that tore them apart, choosing to linger in the shadows forever. But here's where it gets really spooky. Some folks aren't sold on the soldier theory. They're saying it's the spirit of the engineer who built those tunnels, wandering the underground world in nothing but pants. These skeptics are saying that he died down there from the heat. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Those engineers back then worked without shirts in the hot tunnels. Number 7. Ghosts on a mission to find something lost. This one's straight out of a horror movie plot. A couple, Lainey and Ben, move into a new house, and then a couple of creepy things start happening to them. They're like, oh, it's probably just a coincidence. Until one of them realizes that maybe, just maybe, it's not a coincidence, and there could be someone involved. Finding mugs smashed on the floor, cutlery out of the drawer, or cupboards opened is one thing. You know it happened, and you can simply disregard it as the wind or whatever, but seeing it happening is another thing. Imagine you're just in your office when you get that notification pop up on your lunch break, and you're dreading opening it because you never know what you're going to find. That's where the CCTV motion-activated cameras come in, and they capture everything. Everything that happens in the areas of their house they use the most. There are literally mugs flying here and there, plates getting smashed left and right, their stuff getting knocked down on the floor. Tell me that's not straight out of a horror movie. It's almost as if a cat's spirit has been let loose in the area, a cat that has decided that it will destroy everything nice. And honestly, if it wasn't for the camera, the guy could simply disregard the door closing as the cat messing around. But boy, oh boy, Ghosts would seriously improve their reputations if they would put things away for us rather than messing up the house. But then, who would we make the antagonist in a horror movie, right? Number 8. Possessed doll shows displeasure with the arrival of a new doll. This one might make you think twice before entering your child's room tonight. It starts off innocently enough, with a mom recording her daughter opening a new doll. But things take a really creepy turn when the daughter decides to name the doll Lovable. Suddenly, you have to focus on the doll in the background that looks like it's straight out of a horror movie for kids. It's not looking too happy about being left out of the spotlight. And it decided to make it known. Out of nowhere, the creepy doll moves its hand and throws a candle, almost as if it was trying to take the spotlight. And for me, this be proof that movies like Child's Play and Toy Story are actually based on real life? I don't know about you, but this video gave me the goosebumps. Number 9. Ghost screams in a hotel room. Now let me take you back to September 14, 2003, at a Wingate Hotel in Illinois. It all started with some strange phone calls from the hotel guests, complaining about loud screams coming from the second floor. And it wasn't just any random room. Almost all of them said they were from room number 209.
What's going on, John?
So what did the hotel staff do? They sent John, the bravest soul they had, to investigate the situation. As soon as he gets closer to the room, the screams grow louder and louder. But John was no scaredy cat.
But we're sure that no one's checked into that room, correct? John, just wait. We're gonna get a hold of the police.
He entered the room despite the creepy noises. Imagine hearing the bone-chilling screams of a woman from a room and still having the guts to enter it all alone. But wait, it gets even creepier. As soon as John entered the room, the screams stop and a transparent figure can be seen exiting the room. And guess what? The room was completely empty. Well, not entirely empty. There was some serious damage to the room, like a storm had hit it, but it was empty from any living being's presence. But that's not even the scariest part. Apparently this wasn't the first time something like this had happened in room 209. There were multiple complaints over the years about strange noises coming from the same room. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be caught in that room in the dead of night. But not John. A paranormal activity was probably the last thing on his mind. He probably thought it was a matter of life and death, which in some twisted sense it kind of was. Number 10. The moving doll in a corner. And on this creepy list, there's a little girl playing with one of her dolls in one corner of the room, completely oblivious to what's happening around her. But there's someone, or should I say something that's completely alert, and that something is the doll sitting on the other side of her room. Like a pattern with these haunted dolls, this one was also probably upset that she wasn't the one being played with. The creepy doll's head starts moving around as if it's trying to grab the little girl's attention. And as if that's not creepy enough, there's yet another video of the same girl. This time, you can see papers flying off the table by themselves as if something unseen is causing them to move. It's creepy, to say the least. That makes me wonder, is it just the doll that's haunted? Or is it the entire house? Maybe it's the doll causing chaos in the entire house. One thing is for sure. This entire thing is quite bizarre, but the fact that the target was a baby just makes it 100 times creepier. Number 11, chair moving by itself. Looks like you and me aren't the only people who like to spin around their chairs. Even other entities find it entertaining as well. Can you imagine seeing the chair you sit on to work daily spinning around by nothing but air and knowing that you will have to sit in that very chair? I, for one, would immediately throw it out. After all, I have watched enough horror movies to know how this kind of thing ends. Number 12, the haunted school. I'm sure you've heard at least once in your life that your school is built on a graveyard or is haunted by a ghost. Well, it may sound like a universal experience among students, but for Deer Park CBS in Cork, Ireland, it might just be a reality. First off, the creepy things start from a distance and the spooky activities starts to move closer to the camera. Suddenly, a door down the hallway swings open and slams shut, making a loud noise. The shift keeps moving, and then a tall locker starts to rock back and forth as if something's trying to escape from inside it. But that's not the end of it, guys, because in the very next moment, a book flies out of another locker. Yes, you heard that right. A book just flew out of a locker on its own. And then it looks like the ghost is stalking towards the camera as stuff starts getting kicked left and right. And what did the school have to say about it? Well, obviously they were like, "We're not sure." We found some pretty weird stuff, like they found papers scattered in the same area before, but were never able to identify the culprit. Oh, but they did have something to say about the history of the school. Apparently the school was built in 1828, and staff members had heard noises in the building when no one else was around. It's like there's something in the air when they go past that particular area. Motion sensor detectors should have picked up anyone moving in the area, but there was no one there until it was this footage. But obviously the public isn't really sold on this story. They say it was conveniently captured ahead of a Halloween event, so maybe it was the school's way of getting viral. But who knows? Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. All I know is that if I were a student at that school, I'd be keeping my distance from those lockers. Number 13. Creepy doll decided to wave hi to the camera. The next video I have comes from Sherry Schoon, who, like we all do, wanted to show her collection. And her collection, even though wasn't that unusual, but I have to say was quite creepy. Yes, duh, dolls. Now, I'm not one to be easily spooked, but I have to admit that this collection is beyond creepy. I mean, imagine being locked in a room full of dolls like that. You'd definitely break the door down and run for your life. There's something about those dolls that gives me the chills, like they're haunted or something. The whole scene reminds me of a weird cult ritual from a movie called Eyes Wide Shut. You know, the one with the creepy masks and black cloaks? The dolls in Sherry's collection look just like the cult members in that movie. She focuses in on a doll which she finds particularly pretty, and suddenly, another doll next to it moves its hand as if it wants to steal the spotlight. It's like it's tired of holding its arm up all day and finally decides to put it down. If I were there, I'd run for the hills where there are no dolls in sight. Number 14, a ghost wants to change the layout. When I saw this picture shaking like crazy, at first I thought it was just an earthquake, but when you focus, you realize there's something freaky going on. It's like an invisible entity is messing with the frame for fun. The way it's moving is so strange. It's like the ghost is provoking us to get scared. Number 15, the basement ghost. One thing that all horror movies get right is never to go into the basement. A YouTuber who was just unpacking his stuff after he had moved in caught something rather unusual. It was almost midnight on the 12th of October 2009. This guy was alone in his house. No one else was present there. He opens his basement door and enters into the complete dark, only to be met with an eerie presence. Someone was there, someone other than the owner of the house, an entity with an evil presence. But despite knowing all of this, he decided to play the dumb guy who goes on to check what was going on. Let's just say his encounter didn't end up as fruitful as he would have thought. The guy decides to keep going until a door slams almost into his face as if warning him to stay away from the already taken space, but this guy seemed to have put his luck on a pedestal. and he goes on saying hello as if the ghost would come out of its hiding space, politely greeting him and telling him, "Yes, sir, it was me haunting your house. I'll leave, saving you the inconvenience." Just as you'd expect, the camera pans over, and a little girl can be seen almost disappearing as soon in a matter of seconds. Looks like someone might be a little camera shy. As scared as the guy sounded, he didn't even see the girl. He actually just saw the cotton muslin sheet on the table moving, which is honestly scary enough on its own. So, just don't go into the basement at midnight when you're alone, and you can prevent this from happening. Number 16. Doctor opening and closing continuously. Let me ask you something. Who can spot supernatural entities better than a ghostbuster? A cat or a dog? What's an even better detection force? Both of them together. This owner was enjoying a good night's sleep, too similar to Sleeping Beauty's deep sleep, when her pets suddenly got alert and sound at once. They kept staring at a specific spot at the door, making the evidence of the presence of a spirit even more concrete. There was someone there, someone who couldn't make up their mind whether or not they should enter or not. Maybe it was the pet's presence that deterred the entity. We can never know for sure. As the door slams, they get even more alert, but the slamming doesn't just happen once but twice. All the while, the owner is in a deep, deep slumber. Number 17. Karma hits girl for making fun of friend. This video was originally posted on YouTube. At first, it looks like a cute little dinner table with two little girls just enjoying their cute meal at a small plastic table. But then, things take a turn.
What?
One of the girls, the one facing the dark kitchen, starts acting all weird.
I just turned off
She's
the light.
peeking around the corner, making distressed sounds like something's spooking her.
What was that?
Now, you might think she's just fooling around, trying to get a reaction. But nah, this is different. The mom, clueless as she is, brushes it off, thinking it's nothing. I'm not even good with kids, and I know this was a bad move on her part. Her friend joins in, laughing and trying to calm her down. But when the mom asks what's up, the girl points into the kitchen and loses it, bursting into tears. She bolts from the kitchen, visibly shaken, while her friend keeps cackling from the table. Then, out of nowhere, she turns, stares into the kitchen like she's seeing a ghost, and lets out this bone-chilling scream. She goes flying from the table, and she dashes to join the others, all bawling their eyes out. Camera pans to the empty kitchen, leaving us hanging on what spooked them. And let me tell you, their reaction ain't something you shake off easily. It's enough to make a grown man scared. I'm still surprised by how the mom even laughed it off. Anyways, which ghost sighting did you find the scariest? And do you have a spooky story of your own to share? If yes, comment below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.